Come on, do it better. Come on. High five. Hi, friends. My name is Bill Evertsberg. I'm one of the ministers at Kenilworth Union Church, and this is Doogie, my assistant minister. And I have this wonderful guest, Marion Hanold. I will tell you in a minute why I'm specifically talking to Marion today, but Marion, you and David and your kids, I can't think of anybody in the church who do more for this congregation than you do. How did you get involved at Kenilworth Union, and what are your passions right now? Tell us about your family. Broad question.
Well, thanks, Bill. I'm happy to be with everyone this morning as well. My husband David and I moved out to the suburbs shortly before our oldest daughter, who's now 20, was born, and thereby it became time to find a church. So since we moved to my backyard, I grew up in Winnetka, I said to David, great, you get to pick our church. So we shopped around to various more congregational, more open-ended kind of churches. That was his history, and there was no question after shopping that Kenilworth Union was the place for us. So we had our younger family at that time. We got very involved, and sort of gradually, as I think a lot of families do here. First with the preschool, Sunday school, and then from there, David, who's sung in the choir ever since we joined the church, and I have just gotten very involved. Dave's now, in addition to choir, or when he can return to choir, he's very involved with the day-by-day calendars. I do outreach, but more as a liaison. And then my passion, which I think will be most of our conversation today, is really congregational care.
Yeah, tell the folks why I invited specifically you to talk to me right now at this time in the life of our church. What are you doing?
Well, technically, I serve as the chair of the Congregational Care Committee, which is a group of about 8 or 9 of us, some on the Board of Trustees, but many folks not, who are in charge of each corner of the congregational care services that we provide. And these are all volunteers, of course, doing everything from leading one-on-one relationships in the Stephen ministry environment, which is, I think many of you know, when you might have a particular crisis in your life, the church helps match you with someone who can walk with you as you're struggling with whatever you're dealing with. So we do that sort of, very intensive one-on-one care, but then we do a lot of what you think of as more traditional congregational care, writing folks a note if they have a new baby, bringing people food if they're, struggling, or, that would be appreciated. And we also have a group as well who just reaches out to folks who can no longer be a part of the active church involvement. Maybe, back in the days when we were able to come to church, who could no longer physically be here. But even those who really aren't in a good position to enjoy us virtually, we have sort of an outward connecting group called the Care Connections Group that reaches out to folks, basically once a quarter, just to remind them that we're thinking of them, we're praying for them. And I just have to tell you, it's enriched my experience. I've done many different things at the church, but I think at our core, especially in time of pandemic, congregational care is what church is all about.
Yeah.
So it's really a treat to be a part of that.
And you've had to step up recently. Since Joe Forrest, our senior associate for pastoral care, took this wonderful new call in Pittsburgh, you've stepped up beautifully. I've so appreciated that.
As have you.
Well, yeah, yes. So tell us how pastoral care has changed in the light of Joe's absence now, and how people can get in touch with you as the trustee responsible for pastoral care, and for Katie and Christine and me.
Of course. Well, I like to think of it as, while Joe is departed, I believe that we are trying, all of us, to live into that very fine tradition that she helped really cement for us in her congregational care leadership. But as in all things, one person leaves and that hole needs to be filled. And I have to say that we are so blessed to have Katie step into that role. I know she will grow into it in a very, very meaningful way. And she's already been very quick to, get her arms wrapped around it. But given the fact that she's pursuing her sabbatical right now, we've had continued amazing connection and assistance both from Bill, Christine Hides, who I know many of you know are getting to know better. And then we are continued to be supported by really the rock of congregational care, who is Kathy McCabe. And many of you know Kathy if you've planned a wedding or had to deal with a funeral or really just about any other administrative task in our church. But Kathy's really become the focus of, calls as they may come in. She then makes sure that the ministers know if someone needs a call or some other kind of connection. We engage Care Guild if food is needed. There are all kinds of things. So we've basically, I think, done a pretty good job adapting and really making sure, and I encourage anyone who's listening to this message, that we're also trying to deputize the congregation a lot more to really be forthcoming and let us know if you know of somebody who's struggling. I mean, that's probably, if I were to say anything that's distinctive about Kenilworth Union's congregational care, is that we really actively try and encourage people to come forward to seek care or to offer care. So it's both those who want to give care, but those who are comfortable enough to say, I could really use some help right at this minute. Yeah. Or I'd like a call from church because I think it would make me feel closer to God or to my community or what have you. So it's a two-pronged thing.
Yeah. So during January and February, this will probably change on March 1 when Kata returns, but during January and February, if people have a need or discover a need in someone else, they should call Kathy McCabe during business hours, let's say 8:30 to 4.
Absolutely.
And that number should be at the website,
yeah,
right?
website, church directory, and Kathy, again, is our main traffic cop, but obviously if an emergency were to occur, don't hesitate to reach out to you or to myself. We will make sure that those requests are directed where they should be.
Right. After hours and on the weekends, I think my cell phone is available on the website or in the bulletin, okay? We'll make sure that's the case. Don't hesitate to call me, okay? Right. Marion, thank you.
My great pleasure,
It's Sunday morning, right after virtual worship. Marion joined me at the church. Thank you, Marion, for all you're doing for us.
And for you.
Thanks. And the Lord bless you and keep you. Amen.
Amen.